let's move on from Tencent and talk about the e-commerce space.
Mhm.
There's a number of e-commerce players in China, and we're going to talk about three of them. We're going to talk about JD.com, ticker JD, Alibaba, ticker BABA, and Beizun, ticker BZUN. And these are really three kind of, you put them in an e-commerce basket, but I look at them as very, very different companies.
Yeah. Yeah, they're yeah, I think each one does something different. Alibaba is almost like a conglomerate. I mean, I think along with Tencent, they're kind of the biggest Chinese tech companies, but they're best known for as an e-commerce company. You have Tmall, which is sort of like a high-end shopping mall, where you're going to find Nike products or luxury goods. They're fully authenticated so by the brand, that sort of thing. They have the Taobao marketplace, which is more of a peer-to-peer kind of marketplace, like you might see with eBay. And then they have businesses outside of China. They have Lazada in Southeast Asia, and AliExpress, which you can shop here in the U.S. And they also have a cloud business and entertainment. They have their own kind of YouTube thing called Youku. So that there are a lot of things. Predominantly e-commerce stuff.
Yeah, and they are primarily a third-party
Right.
e-commerce company, right? So
Right.
when we think of third-party, think of eBay as kind of people selling to other people, and Alibaba facilitates that in their Tmall marketplace, but
Right.
doesn't necessarily touch the goods. Are they getting into first-party business at all?
Yeah, I don't believe so. Yeah, they've been a marketplace. Yeah, thanks for making that point. Yeah, that's an important distinction between them and JD.com. But yeah, I mean they've been a marketplace since the early days of the internet, and they've had a lot of success doing that. So I don't believe they have any plans to do first party. Though they do own their own. They have a logistics subsidiary as well called Cainiao.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think that's through an acquisition, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was one of the acquisitions they've made in the last few years. So
yeah, I vaguely remember the Alibaba founding story. Jack Ma searched on Google and for Chinese goods and goods in China, and he got nothing. He had nothing. Nothing came up. So he's like, this isn't right. And so the idea for Alibaba was formed. So you kind of mentioned JD.com. They tag themselves as the largest retailer in China, whereas Alibaba might be the largest marketplace for sales. JD is the largest, first party. Think of them as like online Walmart in China, and so they've come up through the business of putting together a massive amount of infrastructure across the country. I think they have over 1,200 warehouses now, and over 200,000 sort of last mile delivery people. So they own. Not only do they buy the inventory, put it on their platforms to sell, is they also manage all of the fulfillment themselves and the last mile delivery. So they have a significant hand in what gets put on the marketplace, as well as how it gets delivered.
Yeah, I think of JD.com in part as really a cutting edge logistics company, and that they're experimenting with delivery drones. I think they have a warehouse in Shanghai that only is pretty much fully automated with just like 4 employees. I've seen their trials for like delivery or autonomous delivery robots, so that that they're doing a lot of cool things with that stuff, I think.
Yeah, you and I kind of geek out on their technology. I remember you wrote an article a year or so ago that talked about how JD was ahead of Tesla in a number of avenues on self-driving and other technologies.
Yeah, yeah, it's maybe bending it in some ways, but yeah, I mean they did roll it out. I think last I saw they were testing it in I believe Chengdu, but
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I've seen any updates about that, but yeah, I mean it is live, so it's that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, they also have their delivery vehicles are tiny little things that like go on. They have different sizes, but they can run on sidewalks. They're about that size. And the third e-commerce company is Baozun, and ticker symbol BZUN. And kind of early on when it was first recommended across the Motley Fool, it was called the Shopify of China.
Right.
And I bristle at that explanation right now, because that's not really what they do. They're much more
performance hasn't been very Shopify.
Well, that is definitely true. Certainly not the stock performance, but they're more of I think of them as a service provider, where a Western brand, somebody like a Nestle, wants to get into the Chinese market. They don't have a footprint there. They're not sure how to get there. And Baozun kind of walks them through the whole process. We'll take pallets of delivery from Nestle and then put it in the right places around the country, help them market potentially, and ultimately fulfill their goods and help them collect the money. And they're really they focus on capturing these brand partners, and that's their sort of growth. That's their sort of niche market that they have.
Yeah. I mean, I think also it's important to distinguish them from Shopify, which is a software company, whereas Baozun is really handling the sort of logistics, warehousing, marketing, IT, government relations kind of thing for these multinational companies to do business in China.
Yep. And so what's interesting is I just took a quick look at the market caps for these three before the show, and Baozun is under 2 billion. JD.com is right at around 99 million, 100 million right now. And Alibaba is around billion. So Baozun was like 1.8 billion, JD's about 100 billion, and Alibaba is about 400 billion. So very different market caps. And although JD and Alibaba's revenue are actually pretty close, but you have to remember that JD's revenue comes from selling goods. And so if they sell $100 item, they're getting the $100 plus their service fee on top. And if Alibaba sells a $100 item, they're getting whatever their take rate it is, maybe 10% of that as a service fee. So very different. So Alibaba is moving more goods overall, but JD actually purchases the inventory. And so that's a little bit of the difference between those two.
Yeah. I think that's why JD can make that claim about being China's biggest
retailer.